Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. How are you this morning? You okay? So thank you for being with us. Good morning, Marjorie.
Good morning, François.
I guess you had a good evening last night. It was great to be again at IBM, and you've seen every year it's better, nicer, better food, better wine, and also, which is very important for me, better discussion. And I was very happy to see also old friends. And for those who have been to the nightcaps and still at the bar, congratulations for being there this morning. We have a packed agenda today, and we will go into the main theme of this conference about digital first, which is what the technology, what this digital wave, what impact it has on the industry, and we'll go through all the verticals. It will be very interesting to see how the technology disrupt, but also how the business model are moved from a product to a service. Then we'll move to regulation, and which is a very important part. Very happy to have lots of key people from the regulatory environment. And then, after the lunch, we'll have the prize. So, Marjorie, the floor is yours, and thank you again for being with us.
Thank you so much, François. Actually, yes, we're opening the second day of the Digital World Summit with a session devoted on products, how products are becoming more and more services, and how services are becoming more and more experiences. You know that you can react anytime on Twitter with the hashtag DWS15. I'll be happy to read your tweets on stage and review your reactions. And to moderate the very first session this morning, I'm really pleased to be joined by Ambroise POPPER, VP Mobile Computing and M2M Business Unit for Sequans Communications. So, Ambroise, this morning we do have a real challenge together at the very beginning of this session, trying to make the most of it, trying to understand how digital products are evolving and what digital brings to them.
Okay, yes, so thank you very much, Marjorie. So I'm very pleased to be chairing this session this morning. Just one word, if you don't know my company, we're a French 4G chipset company. Small company, but very focused on the 4G for IoT. So coming to the topic this morning about products and the importance of services. So I think everybody loves, a nice product, a nice piece of hardware. We have great companies like, Apple, Withings, Parrot, Fitbit. They do great products. And I think the first reason people are buying them is because it's a nice object. It looks nice. It's beautiful to wear sometimes.
Think about the design.
The design is very important. But the problem sometimes is people buy them, but after a while they stop using them because the service that these products are rendering is not useful enough. Okay? And that's a real problem that the industry needs to address. And that's why the importance of service is really rising. Service that you can actually render to the end user. So I wanted to maybe quote a few examples of some of the services that we see. One area, and some of the speakers will speak more about it, is the car, the automotive space. I want to mention one company we're working with called Zuby in the US. It's a small startup, but they just released a great product which helps you actually track the car, the way people are driving. For instance, parents in the US, their teenagers are driving, they're a little nervous. How fast are they driving? Where are they going? That's useful. It can also help you reduce your insurance rate. If you drive carefully, then you pay less for your insurance.
Wow.
So that's a nice product where really it's a service that is rendered and people are ready to pay for that. Other examples, the area of kids. There's a lot of services there. For instance, I'm working with a company doing a watch for kids. And the idea is for parents to be able to know where their kids are and to get some alerts if they get out of a given area. There's, geofencing as another interesting application. Other area that we see products evolving into services is, for instance, everything related to surveillance, home security, let's say connected cameras, alarm panels, and there's a lot of applications there. And again, it's not just a product, it's a service. You can access the information to your home. The police can access that. You can have a surveillance application. And another area, and one of the speakers will talk about this, is, let's say, e-health or connected health. And here the service is obvious. It's the hospital, it's your doctor being able to track you or to know exactly where you are, or to send an ambulance if you have a problem. So now coming to the question about the model of a service, I actually see two models. One is the service would be sold within the device, meaning you buy, for instance, this automotive accessory, and then you're going to be paying a monthly fee or annual fee to the vendor of that product. So I think that's quite interesting. It can be related to new models with, let's say, MVNOs who will be packaging data on these products and reselling it to the vendor of the device. But I believe that's very interesting, that when people buy these objects, they don't want to go to another person, which would be the service provider, to buy a SIM card and pay a monthly subscription. They want to buy a device, and the service comes with it. So I think that's a disrupting element for service providers. And of course, you will have still the traditional model of service providers providing services. And yesterday, there were interesting presentations, in particular from Eric Denoyer from SFR, showing the threat of all of these new services and how, let's say, the traditional service providers are going to evolve to try and capture part of that market and defend themselves. And I think we see that happening also, for instance, Verizon in the US, with their Go90 video service. They are trying not to be just what we call dumb pipe, but provide those extra services, the contents. So I would say definitely products are great, but without service, they're nothing. So let's listen maybe what our panelists will have to say about this.
Sure, absolutely. And what's coming to me in mind right now is that servicisation.
Yeah,
it's not
difficult
that easy.
word.
Yeah, absolutely. Servicisation means monetization.
Exactly.
There you go. So for our first insight of IDATE, I'm really pleased to welcome on stage Vincent BONNEAU. Vincent, you're the head of Innovation Business Unit at IDATE. And we'd like to know more with you on the impact of the digital transformation, what this digital transformation is having on products.
Okay, so the transition of products, so from selling products to selling services. As you've seen, there are plenty of examples, so there was a big question for me to start the presentation, which was what I'm going to talk about, which vertical to pick. So I turned to the young generation, my son, and there was an obvious choice. So I'm going to focus today in my presentation only on cars. And you have to understand and know that IDATE is also a consulting company, so I'm going to address it with a consultant way, so with our most advanced tool, which is a 2x2 matrix. So roughly, to guide you to the presentation, through the presentation, you're going to see the differentiation between product and service, and core, what is really core to an industry, so today, the car itself, and non-core. And so, as you're going to see, there are very different ways to provide services in all of those areas, in all of the cells of the matrix, and it can really fast become a mess. But let's focus directly on the main evolutions. So main evolutions, the first main evolution of today is the bold cell, which is the optimized car, okay? The production is optimized with just-in-time. You can customize your car online, even after the visit in the shop and so on. So I'm more going to address what is really new, which is either non-core or really development of services. First type of service that is being developed, as already mentioned, is products to which we are adding connectivity, and that become products with services. There are plenty of examples. There are successful ones, like OnStar, which is really making a big push, and there are other services on which the jury is still out, like infotainment, on which, yeah, everybody is somehow interested, but nobody really wants to pay. Then there is really servicisation. Servicisation, what do we mean by that? I mean, it's the evolution of business model with service-based approach. So today, a manufacturer is going to sell one-shot the car and is not going to see the client anymore. That's a big issue when you know that the average duration of a car is 15 years. So they've already started to develop services, in fact, even without digital, okay? So they sell car insurance, loans, vehicle maintenance, and so on. So this is already in place, but this could go really further with digital enablers. And obviously, one of the big targets is preventive maintenance or targeted recalls and so on. And you can be sure that players like Volkswagen would be happy that they have that already. Then the goal, the discussion there's going to be also is on the monetization and car becoming an API. Okay, you can send the data outside, and so the pay-as-you-drive has already been mentioned as a business model. In the US, they've gone further. They've gone with the drive if you pay. As long as you pay your credit, you can still use your car. So they're targeting a specific niche of people with poor credit. There are already 2 million cars connected this way, by the way. And obviously, then there's plenty of data that can be generated through the sensors in the car, and that could be monetized to smart city, intelligent transportation system, and so on. So it looks, the picture is very nice. And the car industry, I mean, cars will marry cars and live forever happily after, but not so sure, in fact. I mean, there are plenty of other moves that we need to mention. In fact, there are plenty of people that are non-car compared to cars, and that come directly from the service itself, and that are pushing disruption. First type of disruption, the cars themselves. We're seeing disruptive cars on the market. So there's a lot of talk about the Google self-driving car, but there's already Tesla, which I don't need to explain and in detail, but which has been, for some months, the leader of sales of cars in Norway, not of electric vehicles, of all cars. Okay, so even though it's still luxury cars for now, the high-end market, I mean, this is disruptive, and they see cars another way. Second type of disruption is the vision itself. In fact, for many players, the car is just another device. You have a smartphone, you have a tablet, and you're going to have a car in which there is connectivity and services. And this can come from the operating system, this can come from something embedded in the car, an hardware model, and so on. And obviously, it's still the same strategy at a very large scale, collecting data at a large scale and generate revenues after. So what's really happening with the car is not so important. And then we have also disruptive business model, in which, in fact, maybe I don't need a car anymore. Okay, there is ride sharing with BlaBlaCar and Uber and so on. There is even car sharing. We're just at the beginning. But in that case, maybe, I mean, we definitely will see less cars bought by people. So to conclude and try to mix all of the metrics I've presented and try to make something complex, at least at the end, we can see two major evolutions. There's the core of the machine itself, for the car, for which digital is still clearly today bringing clear opportunity for more service-oriented approach for people that have been used to just see the client once in a while. Nonetheless, everybody should be aware that core services of an industry are maybe just non-core for the industry, and aggressive pricing and evolution are possible. Then there is the other side, selling the non-core services. Everybody wants to do servicisation, data monetization, and so on. Our main message, it's going to be hard, in fact, for traditional players. There's intense competition, and all of the other guys have already positioned there. We don't see it happening without the platform approach, a real one, which necessitates some alliance at some point. So there's been a first move recently with German car manufacturers buying in a consortium here, the map services from Nokia for $3 billion. We'll see if it can work. And as a conclusion, we also sell products, we also sell services related to connected cars, related to IoT. So I'll welcome your question after that in the break. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vincent, for this insight.